Good morning, everybody, and good morning, Xbox. Welcome to episode 84. This is going to be a doozy today. Hope that everybody's got their morning coffee and are ready to go. Let's introduce the panel, and then we'll bring in our incredible guests. This is going to be a doozy. And let's first start with the lady on the podcast. Good morning and welcome to CoolcatTerri.
Good morning, everybody. It's another beautiful Sunday morning, so I hope you guys are awake and ready for another great show.
Indeed. It is going to be a good show, and it's always a bonus when Cerebral Paul is in the building, and he actually made it in early. So, here we go. Cerebral Paul.
2 weeks in a row. Leave me alone. I'm here. Okay.
Hey,
Can't wait to talk.
Bonus. She came early. That's what I'm surprised at. Because you're always like the last guy to roll into the room.
I may have to roll out in a minute for a few minutes, but I'll be back. You know how that goes.
We know how that goes. All right, and welcoming back after a 2-week hiatus for both of these guys, we got the smooth, talking, fast, walking, sharp shooting scrub nurses in the building.
Good morning, everybody. Great to be back. Been doing some work, been out of town, driving all across this state of mine, but glad to see everybody in the chat. Talk some games. We got our guest in here. I'm hyped. We got our coffee. Let's do this.
Indeed. And welcoming back from vacation, so hopefully he's fresh off the boat, as you say. It's Axel1324 is in the building.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Axel1324. Yeah, the vacation was great. The hospitalization was not, so I'm here unmedicated and I'm ready to go.
Well, that's not the way you end up after vacation in a hospital. Jeez.
I don't know. Should it not be the best way to end a vacation is in the hospital?
Was that something you knew was coming, or is it just kind of hit you?
No. It happened on the flight back in. Something happened, and I needed to go to the ER.
Oh my
God.
I
needed surgery like right then and there. So it was astonishing. Oh. They almost diverted a flight because of me.
Woo.
Oh, it ended in itis.
Well, we're glad that you're here, Axel. I hope that you're on the mend, but my lord, that's scary stuff. Crazy.
I am.
Oh man. What did you do on that vacation, man? Jeez Louise.
I just ate everything they put in front of me, you know?
Oh.
By the way, be glad they didn't divert the flight, because you would have hundreds of people pissed at you no matter how sick you were.
Man, I was and I really didn't care. I almost punched through the plane wall with the pin I had.
Damn. All right. Okay. Well, making his return to Good Morning Xbox after a very long hiatus. This man basically needs no introduction, but for some of you who are not acquainted, he is one of the busiest men in the podcasting game, and he is certainly a community ambassador. Want to welcome back our good friend of the show, Mr. Boomstick XL.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. Thanks so much for having me. I hope this is going to be a good show. 2 hours of strong opinions. I'm happy to be here, brother. Good morning.
Well, strong opinions, all right. Could be some strong armpits, too. It is 7 o'clock in the morning, at least in my neck of the woods.
I can smell you from here, Noof. Can smell you from here. So.
Is that what it is? Oh, pain is feeling. All right, let's catch up with the chat. We got one of the greatest chats in the podcasting game. Great group of people coming out each and every morning, starting with the one and only. My biggest supporter, I'd say, bar none, is Doggy Dog 420. He says, "Good morning, everybody," and he also drops the first super chat of the morning. So let's get that one out of the way real quick. So who wants? Actually, you've always done the honors. Care to do them again?
Yeah, he says, "Good morning, new panel and chat. Lots of coffee."
Lots of coffee, indeed. All right. We've got, real quick, let's get down through the group. We got another fantastic supporter of the show. Our good friend Dreadpool is in the building. What's up, Dread? We got Jacob Novak here with us as well. We got Jesse Darby hanging out. Talos Ray. We've got, who else we got going? Casket Repair is in the building. It's not a good morning without Casket in the house. General Spartan's hanging out with us. We have got M. Gene in the building. We got Harry Balzac. What's going on, Harry? Dan the Man Cunningham is in the building. Gotta love that. Just rolls right off the tongue. And Jason Max is in the building. Remember, Xbox is always number one as he comes in every morning. And Nick's Dirt Griggity is in the building. Oh, it's going to be a good show when Dirt is in the house. What's happening, brother? And I think I've caught up with just about everybody here. Thank God my chat's not 500 people long. That gets pretty hard to do, but yeah. There we go. So welcome, everybody. And if I missed anybody, please let me know. I'll be happy to say hello. So let's get right into the topics. And first of all, I guess let's just find out what everybody's been up to and been playing lately. Let's start with our amazing guest this morning, Mr. Boomstick. I mean, you're always so busy. It actually amazes me how you can find time to play anything. But what have you been playing lately? I'm curious to know.
It's, you know what, I will say this. Streaming 5 days a week, it does make things difficult. But, you're a gamer. This is about games. You have to find the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think my biggest problem, and for me, it's a cardinal sin, is playing too many games at once. I like laser focusing on a game, getting it done, enjoying it, and of course, not having to learn the controls. Because if you play a lot of games, like for instance, go back to I'm playing Dead Space. I'm at the last boss in Hi-Fi Rush. I'm playing. I just crossed 4 days in Hogwarts, which is one of my favorite games in a very, very long time. Mrs. Boom and I have been playing Baldur's Gate 2 Dark Alliance. We've run through it. We're about to beat it again in the last 3 or 4 days, and we're going to run through it a third time with the characters that we unlock. So I'm actually getting my gaming in, especially hanging out with Mrs. Boom. Those top down RPGs are her favorite. But yeah, it's sometimes it's difficult. I know we're going to be talking about Wulong. I played the demo for about 4 hours. I really enjoyed it. So we'll talk about that. But I haven't had a chance to actually play the launch game that was in Game Pass that launched Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, Boom. Great stuff, man. Yeah, I can't disagree. It's definitely on the Hogwarts. That game is absolutely dynamite. So good. You know what they say, a couple that plays together stays together. And I always say, if you got a wife who likes to bitch, she can hit the ditch. There we go.
Oh. Happy Sunday morning, everybody. Yes.
XL1324, brother. What you been up to, if anything? Obviously, coming off of surgery, you've probably been on the Nintendo Switch then or something.
No, actually, I wasn't on anything. I've never done narcotics in my life, and they put me on narcotic medication. So I was dizzy and I was out of it. I looked like a drug addict on the corner. I mean, I was out of it. So I didn't play anything until yesterday. I loaded up Wulong, and man, it's my kind of game, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Rock hard difficulty, but fun. The story's a little weird so far, but we'll see how it goes, and I'm really enjoying that Wulong.
Wulong. All right. Scrub. Obviously, you're fresh off of vacation, so I don't know how much time you've had to dive into games. Of course, every time I see your timeline, it's usually littered with Call of Duty. Pew, pew. So what have you been playing?
Oh, yeah. I always have my clips. A lot of times I have to use clips because every time I stream, it's usually the worst gameplay ever created. But when I'm not on camera, all of a sudden, I can pull off some nice stuff. But yeah, I've been playing some Call of Duty. Been going through, with Halo, finished the winter update, and the last little 30 step they had with the winter update, and I hadn't finished season 2 yet. I hadn't, so many games had came back, so I ran and been working on season 2, trying to finish that up before the new season, Halo, comes out, season 3. Also did download Wulong as well. I'm not a Souls player at all, so I'm not going to get into how it went. When we start talking about the topic, I will. But yeah, I've been playing that a little bit. So I did those 3 games this week. So I always find time for a little gaming, even if it's a busy week, because I sleep in just a little bit, and I stay up very late. So there's always time to throw something in when everybody's asleep. So. Indeed.
How about you, Cerebral Paul? You've been playing a few different games, I see. Every time I see you in the timeline.
Yeah, I'm mad at Hogwarts because I did all of the Merlin trials that I had to do to finish off that part of the game, and then my game crashed and I lost like 40 of them that I have to go back and do over again. So,
Wow.
yeah. Then I got a code from the Xbox Ambassador Program, or a code for Destiny 2 Lightfall, which I'll be giving away a copy in my show tomorrow on the Xbox Ambassador channel. So I've been playing that quite a bit. Enjoying it. I too played Wolong when it dropped. I'll save my critique for when we get to that point. And mine is not as positive as everybody else's. Other than that, same old, same old.
Absolutely. And last but not least, CoolcatTerri, I'm sure you've been playing some games we've probably never heard about, and maybe anything in between.
No, like I've just been trying to clean up the stuff I've been working on. So last week I completed Gotham Knights, and I thoroughly enjoyed the game. I thought it was a really good game. And I did it all solo, which normally I play everything cooperatively, but I feel like the way that game is designed, it's actually better solo, just because you kind of sporadically kind of jump from like random crimes around the city anyway. So it just makes more sense to play it solo than to try to keep a bunch of friends together, because everyone's going to get too easily distracted in a game like that. But no, I thought it was really, really well done. And then I very, very briefly started One Piece Odyssey, and I didn't get very far before my friend got on, and I had to go play something co-op. but I got that one semi-started.
Was that the new one?
Yeah, that's the new one. The new RPG one that they did, which I've played the other RPGs that they have, and those are fantastic. And I love it when they do that, because I'm not a fan of the fighter ones that they make. So this is great.
Okay, yeah, because there's been a few different games. I kind of get them all mixed up. So, yeah. All right. And as for myself, well, I went back to The Witcher 3. I'm kind of restarting a playthrough because I never did get very far into the game. So I'm kind of restarting it again to refresh my memory. And, obviously that's a fantastic experience. So going back to that, and I hate to say it, I'm the resident pony on the channel here, but I've been playing a lot of PlayStation VR 2 and loving the shit out of it. And let me tell you, I am getting a workout. My God, Horizon Call of the Mountain is a game that will get you a workout. You do a lot of damn climbing in that game.
Yeah.
Holy mother of God. Climbing, and then when you get off the climbing, you got to start holding up the bow and pulling out the arrows and all the rest of that stuff. But it is really, really cool. And GT7 on that thing, my lord, that's just incredible. That just, if you love cars and you love racing and you're getting the VR, you definitely got to go try that one out. That's dynamite. And yeah, but anyway, this is not a PlayStation show, but I'm just telling you what I've been playing, and that's.
Hey, listen, you got to enjoy what you enjoy, brother.
And enjoy what you enjoy. Absolutely. All right, so let's get right into, speaking of games to enjoy. If you are a Game Pass subscriber, there is no end to it at all. Boy, they just keep coming. And if you're a Game Pass subscriber, you can play a little game from Team Ninja called Wolong, and it is available now on the Xbox through Game Pass, or you can play it on a competing platform by the measly price of $70. But why would you not want to just play it on the Xbox and get right into it? So I want to talk about it simply because it has been one of the more hyped games, and it's an early release this year. And, is it a hit? Is it a miss from what people have been playing? I see a lot of people playing it, so that's a good thing. I have tried the demo, and I'll give you my thoughts on it in just a bit. So Wolong, I mean, all I can say is I'm hoping that Team Ninja eventually brings back Ninja Gaiden. I know there's a lot of fans out there who feel the same way. There's something about that series I've always loved. But so far it's been a long time since we've seen Ryu Hayabusa. Is he dead? Have they got him marked off? What's going on there? Let's find out. But let's find out, most importantly, the impressions to Wolong. Is this a game that you should play? Should be on the radar? If you're obviously, again, it's one of those games that lends itself to sort of, a bit of a higher scale difficulty. And so that could be a turn off for some. And so Paul's chomping at the bit to talk about it, and I think he wants.
No, actually, you might want to wait till me. You might want to hold off till me.
I'll leave you till last because you got an accessibility thing that you want to address again. We get it.
Yep. Yeah.
Let's go down in the order of the appearance on the screen and come back to you. We'll start with CoolcatTerri. Coolcat, does Wolong get you excited at all?
No, it's not my it's not my style game. We've mentioned that before, that I'm not into that kind of game. So it's one that I'm passing on.
You're passing on Wulong. Okay. Did you ever try the Neo games at all?
No, but I played Sekiro and I played Dark Souls, and I hated all of them.
And you never tried Elden Ring either, did you?
Nope, didn't bother.
Okay. Wow, we might be the only two people on this panel never ever played it. How about that?
No, I never played Elden Ring.
There's a surprise. Okay. Well, let's go over to Scrub Nurse, since Terry has very little to say about Wulong. She's not excited about it all, so that's a pass in her books. How about you, Mr. Scrub Nurse? Have you been mopping the floor El Samurai style?
No, because there's no guns in the game. There's a reason why I haven't played Elden Ring, and it's not because I'm against it or I don't like the features in it. I'm horrible. And when I say horrible, I mean horrible at Souls games. And yes, I can get the timing, I can get the parrying, but a lot of times I just get so excited. I want to get that extra hit in, right. And it's so tempting to get that parry and get that one hit, and then I get greedy and want to get that second or third hit and then die and start over. So it's very frustrating, and I buy too many controllers and I don't want to break any of them. So a lot of times I just sit it down. What I will say about Wulong, this is the great thing about Game Pass, games that you would never normally try, games that you say, I don't know if I want to do this or play this. You get a chance to at least try it out. I mean, if you have the games there, you want to be a gamer that likes to try and not say, oh, I only sit in this one box, this one category. So I'm grateful for it. I played it with the performance for the FPS mode. I think, to me, especially a game like that, that's the best way to play it. One thing I did do, if some people want to play the FPS mode and they say, well, I don't like the graphics as best, take off the motion blur. Same thing when I do first-person shooter games. Take off the motion blur. It clears up a lot of stuff, especially when you're doing all the dodging and rolling, parrying. You're moving so fast, especially depending on what weapon you had. So I did a lot of dual wielding swords. So I like it. It's fun. I enjoyed what I've been playing, but I can't get far into the game because I get stuck. So the people who love that grind, who love the let me do it one more time to see if I pair it up perfectly, and then you realize you've been on this one enemy for the last 3.5 hours. I'm happy for you. I understand that feeling because the first boss I did that a while, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But I see where the people who play it are enjoying it. If you hadn't had a chance to do it, like I said, this is a chance. It's on Game Pass. Just try it out. You might actually find out you're actually good at it, or you might like the game. You know, some people like say, oh, I don't play those type of games. Just try it out. It's worth a try. And you'll get at least a couple of achievements if you started out for all those achievement hunters, even if it's not your type of game. So I say I give it a thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. It's just I'm not good at it, so I don't see me playing it in the long run, but it's definitely worth a try.
All righty. Well, this conversation about Wulong is going to be kind of short. Let's get over to Axel.
Wulong Fallen Dynasty is my kind of game. You know me, Noof. I am the resident guy that loves punishment from games. I beat Elden Ring. I beat Sekiro. I beat all those games. So this is definitely my kind of game, and it is definitely got that Ninja Gaiden Tim Ninja difficulty to it. That first boss comes around just like Ninja Gaiden did back in the day, and it just no mercy given whatsoever. No quarter, no easier difficulty, no, not even difficulty options. You have to get the mechanics that the game wants you to get down, just like you had to in Ninja Gaiden. You know, you had to get the wall running down in Ninja Gaiden. Guess what? You got to get that dodge mechanic down here in Wulong.
I do appreciate it though that they had the first boss that difficult, so you're not just eased in and don't know what you're actually getting into. You know, right up in front of your face what's going on.
When I found out that first boss was a 2-stage boss, I was like, "What the hell?"
Man, I know.
Yeah, that's
and the second stage took a little bit longer to figure him out, but it turned out you don't even need to hit him except on one. You don't need to hit him except for one type of counter. Because it's the only one that leads to the epic health stab, you know, that critical hit.
Right.
So once I figured that out, I just basically dodge, stay away, do that one move, and it's a long range move. So all I did was get away until he did it. And but yeah, that first boss, he's not messing around. The mechanics took a little while to figure out. I like the little flags they got going on. They got these flags where you gotta go around, and it has to do with your fortitude. And so your fortitude is real important because it kind of lets you take on harder enemies. Every enemy has a fortitude level, and higher fortitude enemies take longer to beat than lower fortitude enemies. So I like that as you go progress in the level, you place more flags, your fortitude keeps going up and it stays up. I like the spirit system they got going on. The spirit system is kind of like hey, you got some excess combat prowess, or hey, you owe us some combat prowess, and they're going to collect. So you got to keep track of your spirit system. You know, if you have positive spirit, you can let out more deadly moves. You can do some magic. You can do some martial arts, as the game calls it. It's fantastic. If you are negative spirit, you can't do any of that stuff. And again, you better have that dodge mechanic down because it's the fastest way to reload your spirit. So that spirit mechanic is kind of like a IOU system that it has going on, kind of like a tired wrestler, you know, like when a wrestler gets tired, you know. So I really enjoy that part of it. The graphics are okay. They're not the worst. They're not the best. It's definitely not AA. It's definitely not AAA. It's definitely not AAA. It's kind of like 2.5A style graphics. I'm going to call them. But the graphics are great. I do love how the counters, when you hit just the right one, he does like pretty awesome kicks and pretty awesome little spins. So the game is very stylish. It is certainly, a lot of people have been comparing it to Sekiro, but as a Sekiro pro, I'm not a Sekiro pro. As a guy that suffered through Sekiro, it is certainly not the same. It is more Ninja Gaiden-esque than Sekiro-esque, because if you remember Ninja Gaiden, it was hard, and if you didn't have the parry mechanic down on Ninja Gaiden, you were gonna hurt on some of those bosses. That's just the same way Wulong is, and I'm loving it so far. I've only beaten Zhang Liang, General of Man. That he took me a few hours, you know, to figure out all the mechanics, and Zhu Yan, the monkey-looking boss. He was tough. He was very tough. Thank God it was only one stage. So, yeah, it's a great game. I'm really enjoying Wulong for what it is, and we'll see how it goes.
Indeed.
The mechanics are smooth. The mechanics are really smooth. I forgot to add that in there. There's no lag in responses when you're doing your different moves and stuff. I know some of those games there might be a little lag or timing issues, but I really enjoy the movement in the game. It's very smooth. It's very smooth.
And let me just add, the companions are useless. Do not rely on your companions.
No.
Letting you know right now, your companions that are fighting with you, worthless.
He stands there more times than not. He talks a lot too.
We're gonna catch up with Mr. Boomstick's take on this particular game. And do we think this is a trend we're going to see a lot more of going forward, as well as more games in this style? I mean, you know, are everybody going to try to capitalize now on the Elden Ring boat, so to speak, because that game was a massive hit commercially, and obviously from a critical standpoint. But just before I do, let's just catch up with the chat real quick because we had some amazing people stop by here, including Percolator 9000. Nix is in the building. Our good friend Spider-Man 356, one of my longest channel supporters, is in the building. We've got Crispy Rambo here as well this morning. Good to see you here as well. And Jesse Darby's hanging out with us. We've got Splendiferous, if I didn't say him already. He is here. It's a Splend. What's going on, brother? And Talus Ray is in the building. Casket Repair is here as well. Like Doggy Dog's hanging out with us. Cray Simmons Gaming TV is here in the house. Saw Dirk Griggity earlier this morning, so that is fantastic, guys. Thank you so much for the love and support. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe. And if you just don't really like what you're seeing or hearing, you can always leave us a comment in the chat, trying to make the show as good as I can. And, feel free to drop a super chat if you like. It is not required, but it's greatly appreciated. Everything helps in the grand scheme of things, but your support is unquestionable. We love you guys. You guys are awesome. And we have a great guest with us this morning. Always an honor to have him here. And Mr. Boomstick XL. Like I said, I know you've been playing a variety of games. You said at the top of the show, you're back into Baldur's Gate there. And a few different have you been able to try out Wolong yet? And what's your impressions of it so far?
Well, I played the demo. I put about maybe 3 or 4 hours into it. I really enjoyed it. It is a grind. The game is unforgiving. If you don't have the patience for it, you're going to lose. You're going to lose the will to want to play. The first boss is ridiculous. I didn't beat him. I got him down to a second stage like 3 or 4 times, and by the time I got him close, I have like no health left. Look, I loved Elden Ring. I had no right to enjoy it as much as I did. Elden Ring for me was just a masterpiece. Mm-hmm. I think that you're going to see a lot of people try and capitalize on, this new old genre, because Souls games have been around for a very long time. Ninja Gaiden is obviously launched with the OG Xbox, and that was hard as hell. I actually, surprisingly enough, loved Ninja Gaiden, but I beat Ninja Gaiden Black on the hardest level back in the days, which is, I can't believe I actually did that. But that's when I had ridiculous skills. Nowadays, what's great and not so great about Wulong is that it's from Team Ninja. If you are a fan of their work, it is what you see is their greatness on the screen. They know how to make a really great but very difficult game. The game moves really, really good. I can't say that I got stuck with any cheap hits. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's if you fail, it's because you did something wrong. Mm-hmm. But again, it's one of those games. It is in Game Pass, and that's a big draw. Again, I would have probably bought the game, and it would have sat on my hard drive because, well, I just don't have the time to put into it. And Wulong, like Elden Ring, is one of those games that you must invest significant time to learn everything. Now, like Elden Ring, like I never beat the last boss. That last MF boss is so cheap. I can beat the first form, no problem. That second form, you can't ride your horse to get him. So I died 200 times on that last boss. And I was like, you know what? After, I don't know, 70 something hours in that game, I'm okay. Mm-hmm. This game, I don't know when I'm going to get to it because, like I said, I still have to beat. I'm at the last boss in Hi-Fi Rush, one of my favorite games of the year. Dead Space, I'm halfway through. If you don't have Dead Space, my God, it's so freaking good. If you are a horror fan, if you like the original, you're going to love this. And there's just there's just too many games. So I really like what I played from Wulong. I just don't know when I'm going to have time to play it.
Yeah, no, fair enough, man. I'm the same thing. I mean, at least I gave the demo a shot. I think a lot of games you owe it to them at least to try them out in most cases. And whether it's a demo or certainly playing on a Game Pass where you get the full experience, it's definitely worth a shot. And I'm like a lot of people. I got to that first boss and I they kind of give me that false sense of confidence and hope as I got him down, and I'm like, oh, I've almost got him. I'm like, this, okay, I might actually be onto something here. And then he gets some kind of a second win and becomes the freaking Terminator, and just obliterates me. I did that a couple of times, and I went, okay, something's not right here. This guy just all of a sudden, he got like stupid tough, and he's just mopping the floor with me here. And I never went back to it since, but I know what I like, and I know my track record with these kind of games, and it's not good. I tend to get really mad and smash things, which is not a good thing. My wife will tell me that 100 times. But I don't need to Hulk smash any more controllers or anything else in my house, so I think I will be best off left served to leave that game where it is. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, it is awesome, and it's just I don't know. I find it's Team Ninja, and it's still being published by Koei Tecmo, right? Right, they're still under that banner. It's just kind of find everything that they're doing is a little bit baffling because they're kind of like Square Enix, which is kind of weird in a sense that we're kind of talking about these two in the same show. And where I'm going with this is, they put out 2 PlayStation exclusives with Neo, but the Ninja Gaiden games have always been notorious on the Xbox. I mean, obviously Ninja Gaiden had sort of a resurgence through the Xbox platform, the original Ninja Gaiden, and then Ninja Gaiden Black. And then of course they came up with the Sigma versions of that game. And then they did the Neos, which were exclusive. They never did. I don't think the Neos have ever been on the Xbox. Correct me if I'm wrong. And now, they do this game, and it's on Game Pass of all places, right? So it's just kind of like, I don't know if it's just people money hatting everything here, or like what's the thought process behind being very selective about certain games and then tossing other ones out. And then again, you're over on the competing platform, but you got to pay the full price for admission. So it's just really interesting. Anybody have any takes on that and what's going on behind the scenes and why companies are more willing to say put one game that no, you need to go buy full price, and other games are just kind of like, yeah, let's just throw it on there? Is that like they want more people to play it, or was the deal perhaps, or the money that was given out, or a contractual thing too good to refuse? Like, where do we think the thought process is here? Because we're kind of going to segue into the Square Enix thing on this whole topic. It's going to be very similar as well. And we'll come back to that in just a second, but we got to get Cerebral Paul to jump in.
I was going to say, don't forget about me,
I hadn't. We're going to get to you, and then we're just going to come back and touch on what I just mentioned here. So, obviously, Paul, you were a very brave man. You decided to go in and try this out, and obviously, accessibility has always been a key thing for you with again some of your limitations. These games they're hard for the average person, but then they're crucifying for you. So tell us how you feel.
Enough rainbows and unicorns about this game. No, I'm kidding. It looks great. It really does. I made it to the first boss, second. So I did okay there, but it took a few tries. But yeah, if I kept playing this game, I was going to start breaking controllers, windows, monitors. Again, it has no accessibility, none whatsoever. And more, I want to say that for anybody who says that I'm a Xbox fanboy, I'm never critical. The last 3 major games they've dropped, Wolong, Hi-Fi Rush, and what was the other one recently? Crap.
High on Life?
That's not High on Life. No, after that, a few weeks ago. That I can't think of the name now. No, not Hogwarts isn't on Game Pass. Yeah, I beat.
You talking about Atomic Heart?
Atomic Heart.
Yeah, that's the one, Atomic Heart.
Okay, yeah, Atomic Heart.
All of those games are lacking accessibility. So the last 3 major drops that Game Pass has had lack needed accessibility, which means the last 3 major drops they've had, I, for one, cannot play with my friends or otherwise and enjoy the game with my friends or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually pointed this out to them in a tweet. Not that it'll go anywhere, but I think it's something they need to be aware of when they're dropping these games as well. Just because, yeah, you're starting to kind of, you talk about it all the time, but then we're left sitting on the sidelines. So I'm not too happy about that. I wish I could play Wolong. It looks great. I definitely wish I could play Hi-Fi Rush because I was able to I got a ways in, but then the timed button hitting stuff is just the windows are so tight, it's amazingly difficult for me, and there's no way around it to continue the story. And yeah, it's and Atomic Heart again. The windows are so tight on, especially the door locks and stuff. You know how you have to tap the A button to get the door lock to release. You know,
Right.
it's
Let me ask you this, Paul. Do you think it's more about a time and money issue to not put those features into these games, or do you largely think they're afraid of the backlash that the community will put out there because then they say, well, then you're dumbing it down and you're making it easy and accessible for everybody?
No, I don't think they give a crap about that. Well, I don't know. The people for Wolong might. I don't know about their.
Because we hear that every time this discussion comes up, we hear that there's always this very loud vocal group that goes, do not put difficulty settings in or do not touch the game because, if that person beats the game on easy or something, then they're not beating the game.
That's just true.
they can take a flying leap because all of us want to be able to play, period. You know, no, I think it's more, a lot of times they just don't think about it. I have more issue that it's all the Microsoft first party games. All of them should have accessibility and should be aware of their lack of accessibility because that's one of Microsoft's driving things. That's the games that come out of their first party, those need to definitely have accessibility added to them. It needs to be.
But
part
some
of
of those
DNA.
games, like Asante said, some of those games that just came out, they're not all first party though either.
Right.
No, but at least one of them is.
Right.
Hi-Fi Rush is definitely first party.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So, but it needs to become an industry norm, not an industry exception.
Very good. Good point. The game as a whole, though, other than the accessibility, pretty good or what?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I wish I could play it more. By the way, you're right. That little blind guy that follows you around is supposed to be helping you. Absolutely useless.
Well, he's not the most useless one you'll run into.
I mean, if that's their way of inclusion, no, that just failed. That fell apart.
Yeah.
All right.
Useless NPCs.
Okay, so on to the other side of that conversation, and we'll come back to our guest, Mr. Boomstick. What do you think about the selection process here from these companies? Do you think there's a strategic plan behind what they pick and choose? Do you think it's largely money influenced? In this case of Wolong, I mean, this game could obviously, being who it's from and who publishes it, this game would easily just sell well on its own at the full asking price, I think. But obviously putting it on Game Pass, I think, is a very smart move, and it gets a lot more eyes on the prize, so to speak, and people who may not be familiar with excuse me, Team Ninja and their games, especially considering their last couple of games have been wholeheartedly on the PlayStation. What's your kind of take as to what you think is happening behind the scenes and why they choose to go the route they do?
Well, I mean, listen, you can have your opinions about digital versus physical. I know that you're a physical guy. I used to be a physical guy for a long time. But this particular situation, when you look at what Xbox specifically is doing to garner new fans, new people to join the service, and to get a game like Wolong, which, obviously it's very Elden Ring-esque. It has a very, very high difficulty that's attached to it. I like what they're doing. I like the diverse games that they're bringing into Xbox Game Pass. Last year is a perfect example, and this year continues it. I mean, listen, just look what has dropped into the service already. Say what you want about the behind the scenes drama for Atomic Heart, but you got to admit that game in Game Pass, it's a big deal. Hi-Fi Rush dropped, Shadow dropped in there is a big deal. Wolong in there is a big deal. I think what they're doing, and we're starting to see maybe some Sony trends here. And whenever Sony's had, and they've had a lot of amazing years with their first party, but what makes their first party even better is having support on the back end from smaller games that are in the same year that their big AAA bombs are dropping. So it's a consistent flow of amazing content. And that goes from first party, second party, and third party. Well, we've seen Microsoft do that to some success, and this year is going to be even more. If you consider that, like this year, we're getting 3, potentially 4 major AAA first-party games in Starfield, in Motorsport. You know, we're hearing rumors that Hellblade 2 is going to be in holiday of this year. You have the Vampire game coming out in May. If you look at that lineup by itself, you're like, wow, man, 4 major AAA games. Sony did that last year, and they used it to great success. But then when you start talking about bringing games in like Wulong, that talk about what you want, whether it's your game or not, it's a game for someone. And the fact that said gamer didn't have to go out and spend $70 on this game, I have to. All you have to do is applaud Microsoft and the team that's trying to get these diverse types of experiences in a service that a lot of people poo-poo. Like, Game Pass is full of filler. It's actually not. it's actually incredibly value for your $15 a month. You cannot argue. Again, not every game is for every gamer, folks. I totally get that. But at the same time, you cannot argue that a game like Wulong that you might love now, that you had no idea. That's what happened with me, Elden Ring. Now, I've, of course, bought Elden Ring like everyone else, but I had no idea I was going to put over 70 hours into that game. I'm not a Souls guy. But what's interesting to that point is a $5 game that dropped last year in Vampire Survivors, one of my favorite games. It literally was edged out by a pinch. It is literally a virtual crack cocaine, because you play. I mean, look at Phil Spencer. He has days in that game.
He's still playing it now. Every day I see him logged in, he's playing it.
He's playing that freaking game. So to your point, Noof, I think that there's something to be said about bringing these types of experiences into a service that you're trying to make the Netflix of gaming. I hope they continue it. It appears the trend is they are going to continue it. But I like what they're doing.
By the way, let me throw out my little addendum and remind people that I've always said that I consider Game Pass a part of their accessibility suite. It does allow me to try games risk-free. And if I can't play it, like, okay, let's make it 4, because Vampire Survivors is another game I can't play. Yeah. That I can try them, say, yep, I tried them. They're not for me for whatever reason. I can't play them, and I can move on. It doesn't remove my disappointment that I can't enjoy them, but it does at least let me try them risk-free, because I can't tell you how much money I threw away in the bad old days before Game Pass buying a game because it looked great and everybody was talking it up, and I couldn't get past the 3rd chapter, So yeah, I consider it's a great thing. I just think they need to be more cognizant of what's going in there and say, you know what, maybe we need to throw something that's a little more generally friendly than the last 4 picks have been, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean, and if Microsoft has certainly proven one thing themselves, is that, the diversity in their lineup is second to none. They've they're starting to cover the bases. They've got a kind of something for everybody. It's not just, the same old rehash and put out constantly, whether you want to just sit here all day and lambaste critic scores, which I think are certainly highly overrated. Most often the critic scores, they're great. It's a sort of a measuring stick, but it's not the be all end all. I've seen lots of people have tons of fun over the recent weeks with games that scored 8 or less. No problem. High on Life is certainly one of them. I've got buddies who've been playing that and they just love the game. Right. So again, you can't weigh everything about a score. Right. And scores are highly subjective depending on who it's coming from and the way, that sort of stuff. But I do love the diversity. I love what they're doing here, and you have to applaud it. Again, it's another reason to get Game Pass. And this is where it always gets funny, right? Because everybody says, "No, if you don't have Game Pass," and I always said, and I still maintain, I have no issues with Game Pass. I do not hate Game Pass. I just choose not to be part of that ecosystem, and I'll say that till my dying breath, probably, but. That's just a me thing. I'm the only one that loses out here because I'm the one who's not getting to play a lot of these games, right? because I don't have the service. Maybe will that change in time? Perhaps. Who knows? But for now, it is what it is. But
on your tombstone, we're going to put still doesn't have Game Pass. That's all it's going
to say. Yes, probably. That would be funny. Let's catch up with the chat real quick. We got some more people.
No Game Pass, but he has Netflix.
I do not have Netflix. I do not. I have Amazon Prime though, largely because I can get my packages real cheap. Plus, it all what just came out on Amazon Prime lately that I'm watching the hell out of. Oh yeah, The Last of Us. No, that's not HBO. That's Crave. Never mind.
The Boys.
The Boys. Yes, The Boys. I love that show. Yeah, and I did have to give in to Crave, which slashes HBO up here in Canada, just so I could watch The Last of Us. That's what can I say? Might have to get Netflix again if Gears comes out. But my theory is Gears will probably suck ass because it'll be Netflix and it'll be handled fucking terribly. Like I said, Netflix. Make sure you hire Cliffy B. You should have him to come in as a consultant on the damn thing. He'll make sure it runs right. KJ, what's going on, my brother? Good to see you in the house. Spider-Man 356 is in the building. What's going on, brother? We got Failed Pyromancer up in the building. What's happening, my man? Six Slayer is in the building as well. Crispy Rambo's here. Doggy Dog still hanging out with us, and many more. So thank you guys for being here. Hit that like, share, subscribe. Jacob Novik, put it out there, guys. And again, thanks for your support. And we are at that point of the show. I think we can just go on, move on past Wulong. If you haven't tried it yet, again, and you got Game Pass, no harm, no foul. Go give it a shot, and maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't. But either which way, you won't be out $70 or $80 wherever part of the woods it is you're buying your games from. I know up here in Canada, that's an easy $89.99. So yeah, that's $90 here Canadian. And if you're in Mag's neck of the woods, yeah, with the freaking taxes, it's crazy. All right. So now it is that time of the show where we bring in CoolcatTerri and a look at the Indie Spotlight.
All right, everybody. I got another one for you. This one I've been waiting for a bit because it's been out on PC, but I've been waiting for when it finally would release on consoles, and it released on March 1st on consoles. So now I can finally go over this one with you. But before I show the trailer, I just kind of want to, kind of state my piece because, okay, so this game is going to be the very, very first of its kind. All right, so never before have we seen this genre. They're bringing two different genres together to make a hybrid, and this is the first time this one's been done. So it makes it extra special, but also the one genre that you guys are going to see, I'm not going to go into detail right now. You guys are going to see the one genre is one that gets a lot of criticism. And I just want to remind you that a lot of the most popular games you all play today are this genre, and you may not realize it. So let me go ahead, and I'm going to show you Brock the Investigator.
This day started like any other.
Judged for your sins.
No! A true nightmare.
Have you ever murdered someone? What? Answer the question.
My life. Our lives.
Garbage boys can only make garbage.
What did you call us?
I don't have much longer to live anyway.
All your fault. Every day.
Going somewhere, crack?
We fight to survive. Come and get me. You're dead meat!
Our creator left us after making us.
We dedicate our lives so that humanity can progress.
At 4:38, the record indicates.
Who are you?
Good idea.
But at the end of the road,
You've saved me. You're my hero.
there's hope.
Raise your eyes to the sky.
All right, so Brock the Investigator, the very, very first punch and click. All right, so there you go. You got a beat 'em up mix with a point click, never before been done. This game is made by Coolcat Games, which is a single man team, and he spent 8 years of his life making this game by himself. All right, so this is amazing. I've played this game. It's very well done. It's got fantastic 80s, 90s cartoon vibes throughout the game. It's very, very good. And it's special to me because point clicks are the game is the genre that easily gets criticized, but people forget that a lot of the games they love, like Telltale games, for example, those are all point and click games. You're literally playing a point and click. So it's just try it. It's a great game. It's a great game. You basically you're playing as Brock, who used to be a boxer and now he's a private detective, and he's trying to find his son. And the very beginning of the game, you see there's some tragedy that happens in his family, and the whole game is him, going through it. It's very well done. You get 15 to 20 hours for your first playthrough. The game has multiple endings, so there's different ways you can play. For those. And the thing that makes it very, very great is, point and clicks are known for having puzzles. Telltale gets rid of the puzzles by just throwing QTEs in there. What Brock does is you can do the puzzle, or if you're someone who hates puzzles, you can literally punch your way through and say, screw the puzzle, and do it a different way, which is going to alter the way your endings are going to be. So, you can still play it your way. All right. So it's just very creative and well done, and it's fully voice acted too, with a lot of point and click games. They're not all voice acted, but a lot of the good ones are. So if you like Grim Fandango, Deponia, Monkey Island, any of the classic adventure games, and you like beat 'em ups, this is definitely one that's worth a try. It's on all platforms. It was on PC first. It's finally on consoles. The game's also compatible with Steam Deck. It's on the Switch. I don't know if it's on xCloud, but I would hope that if it's on Switch and the Steam Deck, that it would be on xCloud as well. But don't quote me on that one. I don't know for sure. But it's on everything. It's $25 on all platforms, but right now Xbox has it on sale for $20. So go ahead and give it a try.
There you go. Another fantastic indie spotlight, and I love the play in the name too. The Brock the Investigator. I was just like,
yes.
Okay, that's cute. That's really cool. Man, I tell you, those indie guys, very passionate, eh? You got to give them full kudos. Like I said, years of their life, a lot of times building games by themselves and come up with these little gems that many of us miss out on. But thanks to Terry, we at least got to beat 45 people with the eyes on the prize this morning. So go out and try that game out. Like you said, it's now on consoles. So there you go. We got the chats up in here. Sliderets, we want Terry. Alrighty, guys. We're gonna move into the next topic of the morning, dealing with another major studio publisher out of Japan, Square Enix. Used to be just Square, but they merged years ago. Now it's Square Enix, and they are certainly one of the biggest publishers out there. They're obviously most notorious for their Final Fantasy series, but in the last few years, they've also published some major stuff out of the Western side of things, including the Tomb Raider franchise, which I'm a massive fan of. They just recently published the Avengers game. I do believe did they not publish? I think they published Guardians of the Galaxy. Did they not? And what else have they done recently? So they've certainly had their shares of hits, their shares of misses, and everything in between. But there definitely is some turmoil at the company. If you haven't been following recent news, the president of Square Enix has stepped down. That's Mr. Yosuke Matsuda. So, my question is, have a lot of bad investments, underperforming titles, have they led to this change of the guard? And do you think there is a possibility that whoever takes the lead moving forward is instrumental in perhaps bringing more games to Xbox? I mean, I know a lot of Xbox fans, and I'm one of them, rightfully so, are still a little bit annoyed with the fact that several years ago at E3, before COVID, they announced that Final Fantasy VII Remake was coming to Xbox, right? And everybody was hyped. We kind of knew that Sony might get at least a timed exclusivity, and some of us had resigned to being okay with that. That's kind of been par for the territory. but we since have found out it is nowhere to be found and looks like it's never coming. At this point, does anyone even care? I mean, once you go past a year and you start to getting 3 or 4 years on and you haven't heard of it, it's kind of a mute topic point. So there's a lot of shadiness going on. There's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. I also think that financial reports are certainly, the Tomb Raider franchise, like I said, I love them. I think a lot of people on this panel would say the same, that we love those games, but they haven't exactly been runaway successes. So that might be a marketing thing. It might be a change in the guard where, like, we know Tomb Raider. Does the fans coming up today know Tomb Raider? So we have to wonder, is it fall on their marketing not pushing things hard enough? But then again, Final Fantasy seems to do pretty damn well. So somebody knows what that's all about. So I'm curious to know how everybody feels about Square Enix to step down to the guard here and what this might potentially mean moving forward. And, and maybe is Xbox willing to step up to try to, bolster their relationship? We know that they need to get more of their titles on the platform. What do you guys think is going to happen here? I'm going to start with the way they appear on the screen. I'm going to come with Scrub Nurse on this one first. Scrub, what's your take on Matsuda stepping down here?
I think this stepping down is more of saying, almost like this is an embarrassment of our business practices and what's been going on as far as how we work as a company, what good choices that we make. The person that they announced that was going to step in is definitely a younger person versus who they had before. You have to think about in the last couple of years, they have sat and said, like, games like Guardians of the Galaxy, this has not been made enough money that we expected. A game that had been nominated for awards for not game of the year, but different awards during the Game Awards, critical acclaim throughout the whole entire year. And all they're talking about is this was lower than our expected things. They put out games that did not hit the mark as well. Avengers, it got a little bit better as it went along, but it still didn't hit the mark. Then you see with Forspoken, whether you want to argue whether it's good or not game, we know that as far as the critical acclaim and how much money it brought in, to it just didn't work as well as everybody expected, especially when you put that much money into the advertisement, all those different things, and you're not getting the money back that you expect. Yes, it's going to be a problem. Also, you have a just gigantic embarrassment where you take with the Tomb Raider IP and Crystal Dynamics. You announce you want to sell off your Western division. You sell to Embrace Group for what, $300 million, and then they turn around and just lease the rights for Tomb Raider. They lease it out for $600, and it's like they turn and flip it and double it. Yeah. And it's like, whoa, wow. Somebody can easily look and say, hey, why we didn't do that? Along with this didn't happen, this didn't happen, this didn't happen, this didn't happen. I think a lot of men, like Boom was saying earlier, and then before the show, these Japanese companies, they are serious about their business. They're serious about the respect that they get from their company, the way their company looks. I just think that with all those things lining up, it was just an embarrassment of choices right now. And do you want to use this person who, we're not trying to use ageism, but who I'm pretty much thinking does not play games. You're this along in age. You might be just a little long in the tooth as deciding what should be good for people who are normally playing these video games between the ages of, I feel triggered.
I feel triggered. Okay, I'm just saying.
Well, he's still older than you. For people the ages 7 to 50s and 60s, you might be missing the mark of hitting those numbers for the lower people. So the next person they got coming in, I think is in their 40s. he's gone to different schools, and kind of, it looks like they're kind of grooming him, and all these bad choices kind of sped this up. So I'm interested to see what they're doing, because Square Enix is a beloved company that ever since we're little kids, you've been playing something that's dealing with Square Enix up until this point. So we'll just see how well it goes.
Your points. I love how you brought in the whole Embracer Group thing, and that how they flipped that on its end too. That was definitely an eye opener. Jeez, I can't talk straight this morning. Let's get over to Mr. Boomstick XL as we go around the loop here. Boom, I'm interested to hear what you got to take on this. I mean, this is a bit of an eye opener. It definitely kind of points out that something's not right at Square Enix right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of things wrong with that company, and it seems as if common sense is one of them. First of all, when you see, what's interesting is how they decided to go with the market leader, and even forget it's like sometimes this stuff doesn't even come to PC, right? When you paint your company into a corner and you are hoping that the 30 million PS5s that are currently in the wild and 100 and near 20 million PlayStation 4 gamers that own PlayStation PS4s are going to make your game successful. Well, I mean, Sony, if you listen to Jim Ryan in the past, he said it. PlayStation gamers aren't enough for our first party. We need to expand. We need to get bigger. Square Enix is a third-party developer. They have been since the NES days. I find it very strange how they go and they're backed by Sony. And from what we understand, we're starting to hear rumors of it, that they didn't even get that great of a deal to lock Sony content onto their platform, or Square Enix content onto their platform. Final Fantasy VII Remake is phenomenal. It's a masterclass achievement if you are a fan of the original. We don't know when we're going to get the second part or the third part, right? Square Enix is notorious for having games in development for a decade. Square Enix needs a change at leadership. That is very apparent. To Scrub Nurse's point, the Japanese culture, if you're familiar with it, they look down on failure. It is considered it's not honorable to have failings time and time again. Forspoken is a perfect example of that failing. Look what they're doing at that studio. That studio's gone. That studio's being put into Square Enix somewhere, probably in the darkest, deepest dungeons of Square Enix. You never hear from them again. They have made a lot of really bad investments. And again,
no sequel to that game then, eh?
Yeah, no, I don't think you're going to get a sequel for sure. But they need change. They are aware that they need change. I'm happy that change is going to come to that company, because, like I said, their current ideology on how to do business is wrong, and they're losing millions and millions of dollars. It's funny, Scrubnut, you mentioned how they have been consistent in, this game did not meet our expectations. I don't know if there's a game that ever has actually met their expectations, because every time they release a game 3 or 4 months down the road, whoever made that game for them, they're throwing under the bus. I mean, look what they did to Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal. They literally said they don't have the talent necessary to make a good game. Like, are you kidding me? So Square Enix, big change is coming. I hope new leadership doesn't just stop with the president. I hope, because you got to remember, the president does sign the checks. He does make the major decisions, but it's everyone underneath him that need to understand that the way they do business is just wrong. Sony, I get it. They're the market leader. Everyone wants to put their games with Sony because they have a lot of players. But for this particular instance, I think it's a terrible mistake. I mean, look, a perfect example of how well a game can do, especially when you team up with Xbox and you drop it into Xbox Game Pass, is Outriders. Outriders did so freaking well. And that was day and date in Xbox Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to see the change. I hope that there is a newfound sense of direction for that company. I don't know if we're going to get it, and it's going to take a couple of years before we see it. But this ideology of it's only got to be on Sony and no one else exists is a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, with saying that, like I said, Square Enix is largely entrenched with a lot of the, the Japanese RPGs and different things. But, in the past few years, they certainly have branched out, obviously taken some big gambles and things with, with franchises that I guess they thought were sure bets. I mean, first of all, you go with Tomb Raider, you reinvigorate the franchise, you bring back 3 amazing games. But then again, like I said, you throw those studios under the bus the moment they miss. And this comes down to like who's making the shots, who's making the calls. Is it a studio thing? Is it a publisher kind of decision? And you have to wonder if the Avengers was really the first big eye opener, because I think, and I think everybody on this panel would probably agree, when you attach even a half decent game with with that sort of magnitude, the Avengers, right? One of the hottest properties on the planet, a Marvel property at that, Marvel Disney. And, and it kind of comes out and gets very lukewarm reception. I mean, what went wrong? I mean, was that sort of the one where Square Enix thought, oh shit, we thought we had a sure bet and this game was going to make bank, but it actually lost us money? Mr. Boom, do you think that was, that might have been one of the real big eye openers?
I don't know. I know that it cost them a lot of money to get the IP. I think, you can tell that there was some mid-development changes for that game where they looked at it from moving from a straight-up single-player game.
Mm-hmm.
The multiplayer aspect was a good if you liked multiplayer. The flaw of that game was when they try to monetize literally everything that you did. Loot boxes, which is just a travesty. The outfits. I mean, look, folks, I complain about Halo Infinite and some of their armor skins, and I'm like, did someone design this like in a dark? Like, did they just put them in a box somewhere and they drew it up and they threw it out and say, okay, figure it out? Some of the suits for the characters were egregious. They were horrendous, and and it seemed like they were doing it seemed as if Square Enix, their thought process of the game on how to make money and overcharge fans is what ruined that game. If you ever played Avengers, and I say go play it, because if you play it as a single player, it is an amazing story. It's well crafted. The graphics are great. I know people don't like the voices because they're not the MCU voices. I totally get that. That's fine. The game itself, the single player story is fantastic. I think the failings of that game come from how much money it cost to get the license and how much money they made on the back end. Mid-development, they must have seen, hey, we're not going to be able to recoup the money that we're spending. Let's change direction, because it feels like the game was changed direction midway to add these microtransactions, and ultimately that's what ruined the game.
Indeed. The microtransactions, and also Warner Brothers, you should take note with your Suicide Squad game, because I got a funny feeling that's heading on the same path. But I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I know there's some people very excited for it. I am not one of them. So I will be passing on the Suicide Squad. Let me tell you that right now. Cerebral Paul. Or actually, we'll come back to Axel first. Axel.
Oh, fine. I was all excited. No, then never mind. I'll be here waiting.
You can take the phone, because Axel missed his order because he had to step aside there. But no, go ahead, Paul. Tell us what you kind of see from all of this.
Okay, first let me point out that when they talked about the game not meeting expectations, on all those games they were specifically talking about launch expectations. They don't care how well Guardians did. After word of mouth got out and it was an amazing game and everybody started buying the darn thing. Their concern was that launch it didn't do as well as they thought it would. And as Boom pointed out, I don't think they've ever been happy with any game at launch ever. And part of that was coming off of what considered a rocky launch to Avengers. Avengers had a very rocky launch. A lot of people didn't like it, so they made some changes and people came back to it. But it was not a good look for the company. But yeah, the last few games they put out, it's always been, well, didn't meet expectations at launch. I don't know what their expectations are. I think they have these sky high, almost pandemic numbers. I think they were hoping the numbers would bounce because of the pandemic, and everybody's at home playing. And guess what? In the case of Adventures, no matter how good the IP is, you can't put lipstick on a pig, and then go back and fix it later. I enjoyed Avengers for what it was. I've tried it single player. There are parts of it I can't do. And speaking of bad AI, boy, the AI in Avengers is awful. Mm-hmm. It's like little amoebas following you around. So, but yeah, I think they their expectations are too high. And what's funny is the president's only going to have so much effect on that because the board also made a lot of those decisions to make those announcements, say those things. So is there going to be changing the guard at that level at some point?
Right.
Sure, they could be throwing the president or the main guy under the bus, the president, but does it really all land on his shoulders? I guess we'll find out. As far as, is Xbox going to actively go after these guys now that there's a changing of the guard, so to say? I would hope that they would wait and see what washes out. If any actual changes are made before they go jumping in with these guys. Okay. Because they don't necessarily want to lose any money either.
Mm-hmm.
So because they have a lot of house cleaning to do over at SE. So we'll see what happens. As far as I'm concerned, who knows? So yeah, I don't think it's going to be just as easy as changing out this one guy to fix all their problems. That never works out.
Yeah, nothing makes a president or a CEO step down faster than a company losing investor money.
And it could also be that he is an older gentleman. Maybe he just said, you know what, I don't need this crap anymore.
The timing, no matter how it is, even if that was just, I'm stepping down, the timing always looks conspicuous, and even more so now with their documents probably coming to light in front of the ABK deal. They're going to be one of the biggest red flags for sure because of everything and the whole fact, like I said, that they committed to making Final Fantasy on Xbox, and now Final Fantasy 16 is exclusive to PlayStation 2 now, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
Even though they went out and put
for
Final
2 years
Fantasy on the
at
Xbox,
least.
right?
Yeah.
So I mean, all that's interesting, right? Why
it is,
again,
but
why is it always? Why is it when Xbox tries to do anything exclusive, there's always a major issue? But when Sony does, it's like, oh no, that's okay. That's just part of
because it's Xbox.
Well, before we get on that tangent, I want to say that this always happens when somebody gets steps down or whatever. No matter what it is, everybody always looks for the worst case scenario. Maybe the guy, like I said, maybe he's just 70-something years old and go, you know what? It's time I step down. Maybe there's nothing to it, but it could be that, his board is going, it's either this or the,
There's a reason our good friend Mav's channel is called Fun Speculation, because it is fun to speculate and figure out, give our takes on what we think is going down.
Yeah,
so Cerebral Paul can talk about his age, but I can't talk about his age. Okay.
That's right.
I'll see how this goes.
You were talking about the age of gamers and us aging out. I am never going to age out. I'm going to be like 99.
No. I will never say the gamers are age out, but if you're an older gentleman, like you said, probably does not play video games. He probably does not know the mind of video games, especially when you're trying to get money too. And let's start putting NFTs in our game.
Okay, you want to talk about
NFTs have been going.
But even some younger industry leads don't play games, Ryan. So it doesn't always have to do with age. So just has to do with attitude.
That meme. There's a meme going around recently where Phil Spencer's playing a game, but he's got the controller in his hand. Looks like he's playing it right. And you see one of Jim, and he's holding like the controller with no fingers on the buttons at all.
That's it. Yeah,
that one's kind of funny.
But so I don't mind speculation, but I don't like the fact that our community tends to always speculate toward the, oh my God, something's going wrong over there.
Right. Right. Well,
we know something's going wrong, but it may not be the reason at all that he's stepping down. So
yeah. No, well, there's definitely a few things amiss over at Square Enix. There's no question. I mean, from like I said, it's just the fact a few months back they threw Crystal Dynamics under the bus. I mean, a phenomenally talented studio, no question about it. So right off the bat, you're like, oh, this is not looking good.
Yeah.
Let's bring Axel in, who we were going to bring in a few seconds ago. But Axel, what's your take on the whole thing, man? How would you break it down? What's going on here?
Square Enix is that company that just keeps using that Phoenix down to revive themselves. They were going to go out of business back in the Nintendo days. Final Fantasy comes out; it's a huge hit. After Final Fantasy, after the huge success that was Final Fantasy VII, they weren't able to replicate that. They're starting to go down. They merge with Enix and become Square Enix. They got another life in, and now they're struggling again. And so we'll see what Phoenix down they're going to use this time. But Square Enix is just the president stepping down, I think, is a culmination of bad business decisions, right? I saw a graph. I can't remember where I saw it, but their game development budget per year is nearing $1 billion every year. And that's a lot of money to develop games that are going to quote unquote fail to meet expectations, whatever that means. I don't know how many copies a game has to sell in order to meet expectations over at Square Enix. I appreciate Square Enix for not doing the games as a service on every title they release, right? Only Avengers is the only one that I think is their first attempt and maybe their last attempt to games as a service. But yeah, I mean, it's just miss after miss after miss. You got your occasional darlings in there. You got Octopath Traveler, which did great on the Switch, did great on the Xbox. The second one seems to be doing great on the Switch as well. You got games like Triangle Strategy, which is a good game, but nobody's playing it. Yep. Hardly anybody's even heard of it. You have games like your Outriders, which are successful and is a live service game and has its fans. So, Outriders has its core group now. But then you have the big dog. You got your big dogs, your Final Fantasy Final Fantasies. And when you limit your number one cash cow to a subgenre of gamers, right? You're going to fail to meet expectations no matter which way you run about it. It's no doubt that Final Fantasy franchise has more money pumped into it than probably all the other franchises combined. And yet it has access to half the gamer pool as all the other games, right? You need to put that Final Fantasy VII on everything. You need to put that Final Fantasy 16 on everything. You can't limit yourself. The fact that Final Fantasy 16 is PlayStation exclusive for at least 6 months. And I saw in an interview that they haven't even begun working on the PC version of it. Nope. They're not going to crank out a PC version in 6 months. No way. That thing is going to be on PlayStation only for a long, long time. And
it's a niche title, dude. It's not going to sell. It's going to sell 2 million copies, dude. That's it.
No, I mean, Final Fantasy VII, sold 5 million copies? The remake? And that's their biggest one. Imagine how many more copies it would have sold on it if it was on, if it launched on PlayStation, PC, Xbox, everywhere, right?
Probably double that.
Probably double. Exactly. I understand that Final Fantasy 14 is their cash cow right now. It's so successful that they can't even accept new players at times.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever had a game so successful that you don't have the server space for it? Millions and millions of players. I think it's peaking at 12 million concurrent players at one point.
Yeah,
which is World of Warcraft numbers. But there's such a thing as good business leaders and bad business leaders, and I think a bad business leader will sell off your entire Western division for 300 million when it was worth a lot more to literally everybody, even us. We knew that when we saw all of that for 300 million, we were shocked. I know I was.
50 IPs and 2 monster studios. I still can't believe it.
Yeah. And Lara Croft, I mean, say what you will, but Lara Croft, the Tomb Raider franchise, is alive and well. I think it has a lot of fans. It has a lot of older fans, a lot of younger fans. What's his name? The guy that directed it. He works over on at the Initiative.
The Initiative, yeah.
Anyways, him.
Yeah.
He
Gallagher, wasn't it?
Gallagher, yeah. Daryl Gallagher. There we go. Yeah, he did a fantastic job of bringing Lara Croft into the modern age with 3 fantastic games that I absolutely loved and played back to back to back every time a new one came out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just I don't know. This guy stepping down is a changing of the guard, and sometimes that's what you need.
Yeah,
because a lot of bad decisions have been made. Square Enix should be making more money.
Mm-hmm.
They are definitely capable of making more money. Their franchises are capable of being better and being in front of more gamers. And the fact that they are not, that their franchises are not in front of more gamers is a travesty, in my opinion. I would love to play Final Fantasy VII Remake on my Xbox, but you know what? I'm not going to wait until it comes out. I've moved on. Final Fantasy Remake is in the back burner. I may or may not get to it on the backlog on my PS4. Who knows? But it's on the back burner now just because it didn't release on my console of choice, on my preferred console, when it was piping hot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That when I was willing to pay $70 for it. Now I'll pay you $20 for it, maybe. So that's just the way it goes. And so I think he really needs to step. I think stepping down is the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Getting someone out there to look at the contracts and start saying, no, our stuff is worth more. Our stuff deserves to be in front of more gamers' eyes. More gamers deserve to play our games.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to change stuff up. Yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Well, if there's one thing this whole situation has proven over the last little while, and you brought up Outriders, and that's just it. Outriders, Forspoken, it just goes to show you that new IPs are such major gambles. And they have to be handled properly, and that usually comes with a shit ton of marketing. Because people, like I said, when you're spending $80 on a game or $90, whatever it is you're spending, it's a big gamble on a game. A lot of people just aren't sure they like, and that's again why they want those big reviews, because they want that sort of media spike. But Forspoken came out the sort of lackluster reviews. Outriders was pop in the community, but didn't exactly light the world on fire. And then they start blending all these great ideas with games as a service kind of models. And while some games call for that, other games are probably best left alone. And it's always a gamble. And I think that the biggest difference with the game industry versus other industries is that games not only cost massive amounts of money to make, but they take so long to make is a problem. Because what was hot when a game concept goes through, right? 5 years is a long time, and the industry can change a lot in five years. Think about that. A kid who was 12 years old is 17 by the time a game comes out, and what he liked as a 12-year-old is probably not the same stuff he's going to like as a 17-year-old, or he or she, or whatever you want to say. But you see my point? So, I think that's where it always gets tricky for the industry. But anyway, I do digress. We're going to bring CoolcatTerri in just a second, but Mr. Boomstick does have to get out of here. We do appreciate his time, and thank you for coming out to be with us this morning. We've got a record show.
Definitely.
I think it's the biggest viewership we've seen on this channel in a very long time. So, Mr. Boomstick, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your views and opinions with us. We look forward to having you back in the future. Congratulations on all the success so far. And guys, he's just shy of 100 people away, or under 100 people away from the big 12,000. So if you're not subscribed to this channel already, please, I encourage you to go over, check out Double Barrel Gaming and give him a sub. He will tell you more about that right now before he leaves.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't want to hold up the show. Listen, if you look, first of all, I don't think I'm the draw. I think you guys are the draw. You have a great panel here, Noof. You guys come every Sunday and you give honest and thought-provoking opinions like everyone has done. That is incredibly important. You don't use hate as a motivator for clicks. I think that in itself is worthy of subscribing to everyone here. I think that's super important. It's very easy to be a jerk and be a D-bag. And people we have seen in our community get monster success over that. I said, like on my show the other day, I'll quit the business if I had to be like that. So shout out to you and everyone on the panel. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, listen, Double Barrel Gaming, we're 93 subs away from 12K. We will get there. And obviously, I'll be putting out some information on the 5 shows we have coming up tomorrow. Skullsy TV is joining us on the Xbox lunch break special. He has some news about Starfield I think people are going to want to know about. If you're not subscribed to that, guys. And listen, enjoy the rest of the day. Thanks so much for the invite, and we'll see you the next time.
And we hope that your wife is feeling better. Give her
Thank
a love,
brother. Appreciate it.
We'll catch you soon.
All right,
Go
guys.
have some fun. Like I said, Boom, I said to you in a private chat, just go rub her feet, man. It makes everything better.
All right, guys. I'll see you later.
Thanks, man.
All right.
I'll go.
Before we bring in Scrub Nurse and sort of a look at Game Pass, if he has anything on that front, we will just get our final thoughts from CoolcatTerri on this. Coolcat, I don't really know how much you resonate with a lot of the titles from Final Fantasy, but there's definitely something amiss over with the Square Enix crowd. Do you have any takes on what you're seeing going down here right now?
I will say that when it comes to Square, they've always been more of a JRPG company. So a majority of those games I don't play. I'm not into them personally. Even though I love Tomb Raider, but that to me that's not a Square Enix game. Crystal Dynamics did a fantastic job making that game, doing the survival trilogy. So I can't really give credit to the bank, for what the creators did. But overall, I think they're feeling an immense amount of shame when it came out that it's possible that Sony paid them to block Final Fantasy VII from Xbox, and as well as I think there were like 2 other games they listed. And that's to see that they were complicit with dirty dealings like that's definitely going to bring them shame.
Octopath Traveler 2 now, which not coming, like all of a sudden is mysteriously not on the Xbox, but they put the first one there, which makes no sense.
Yeah, and especially when they first. When you go back, I can't remember how many years back. If you go back, I think it was like at least over 7 years ago when they first announced, that they were making the remake for Final Fantasy VII. They had a black screen with some sound effects, and then they dropped like the title. Their stocks, just from knowing that they were bringing back 7, their stocks just from that shot up like freaking crazy. And they didn't even have any gameplay made. They literally all they had was a title. All right. And that gave them all, a huge increase in their stocks. And, now we see them today and, they, originally they had the game up for pre-order for all platforms. And then all of a sudden it just kind of like secretly gets like, blacklisted, and it became like a Sony thing. And then no one talked about it. Like everyone's like, when's it come to Xbox? Because, we had pre-orders you took away. Like, when's it coming? And no one said anything, And then finally it comes out with the, the ABK deal that, that they, basically Sony paid them off to not put it there. And like, that's BS, man. Like that's dirty, and, and it just shows that, I don't know if they did it because they're both Japanese companies and they wanted to try to keep it away from, the Western market, or, if they have some kind of bias with the Western market outside of it being Xbox, I don't know. But I don't know. It's just that's just one of those things that even though they found great success with the Final Fantasy franchise, for them to do that is going to bring them a lot of shame. And from the Japanese culture, shame is one of those things where, they don't handle that very well. So that could have something to do with them having a change in leadership possibly. But otherwise, I mean, he could be wanting to retire too. But he could be getting kind of pushed into forced retirement at this point, earlier than what he maybe had planned because of the shame that they're feeling. But we don't really know. I just feel, let them change things up because things that, things haven't been going well because they've had like this weird thing where they would have some games come to, all platforms, and other ones they would make exclusive to Sony from the same franchise, which would be weird. I can understand if they're going to make a brand new IP and make exclusive, that makes more sense. But they have a franchise like Final Fantasy that's been like on all platforms for generations, and all of a sudden, it's now going to become exclusive. Like that makes it a lot harder for fans to swallow that because they can usually play it on whatever platform they prefer and still, enjoy their favorite franchise. So hopefully, with the change of leadership, they will maybe start doing things better for the company. I don't really have much more to say about it because overall I'm not a fan of Square. I don't play JRPGs and I hated Outriders with a passion. But yeah, I mean, and I'm kind of happy that Crystal Dynamics is now separated from them. I don't know how they're going to fare under Embracer, but I've never been a fan of Square, so
right.
so it's all good.
I guess here's the thing, right? I don't know. Are they throwing too many things at the dartboard at this point in time? I guess because if you look at it, sure, we know that Final Fantasy does them big business, so that is essentially Square Enix version of Call of Duty, right? It's that go-to. But if you look at the grand scheme of things, obviously they're trying to branch out and sort of get into the Western culture side of things with games that are perhaps a little more appealing to the average crowd on this side of the pond, but they're starting to fail. Is that kind of part of the equation here? Because, like I said, Tomb Raiders were successful, but maybe not to the extent that they thought it would be. Outriders obviously underperformed from where they thought it would be, and they thought it would probably be really big because of the Game Pass thing. But while it did get a lot more eyes on that game, it's still people dropped that game almost as fast as it came out. I remember everybody was playing for the first couple of weeks, and then it was like it was just
bugs and server issues.
When you look,
so that in itself is part of the issue. Like, is this a thing? Like, is it are we having? And we saw that for Spoken felt largely kind of like broken and not really completed. You know what I mean? Like, is that part of the issues here?
I think it is, but also when you look at Tomb Raider, from fans and like our perspective, we like to think that Tomb Raider was overly successful. But when you look at the sales, it really wasn't. If you were to compare it to Uncharted always does like double the sales that Tomb Raider does.
Yeah, and it's a multi-plat, which makes it even more.
Both of them are multi-plats, and Uncharted isn't. So it's like, it's crazy how a game that like Uncharted is only on PlayStation does better than a game that has a larger audience. That doesn't make any sense. Like, how does that happen? Yeah. So it's just, I don't know. So they could see that as a failing because when you. Like, I would see that as a failing if your game is making like 2 million and then like your competitor who has been around like not even half as long as you is already doing double what you're doing and they're only on one, ecosystem. I mean, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So Tomb Raider is a failing, from a business perspective.
Well, see, like, I think that's where you got to know your audience. And I've always said, and if I'm wrong in this, so be it. But I always said when it comes to superhero games, the Avengers being one of them, superhero games and superheroes themselves don't need to be games as a service. They can stand on their own 2 feet. Like, they are going to do gangbuster numbers regardless. So I think this is the problem. You can't turn every single one of your properties into a game that needs to have longevity. It needs to last and make bank for 5 or 6 years straight. I know, yes, in the grand scheme of things, that's fantastic. But then I think what it does is you insult your audience. You make us we're not all Fortnite people. You know what I mean? We're not all we just want a great experience. You want a good storyline. This is where I have this problem, like I said, with the current superhero games where when Rocksteady made the Batman games, it was Batman and there was no BS in the games, really. It was a great story. It was like kind of a narrative driven thing with great action scenes, great combat, and you upgraded your stuff, sure, but it wasn't about purple weapons and gold weapons and finding loot crates and making Batman stronger. He was already a beast to begin with. He just got stuff in the game that was useful to get to the next part of the game, and it made sense. Now they're taking these guys and they're making these games, and I think they did the same thing here with the Avengers. And I start seeing all this trend again as these companies have got to stop following trends and just make great games. A great game will sell on its own. God of War is proof of that.
I want to correct you on something because I just recently started replaying Gotham or Arkham Asylum, the first one.
Yeah.
Some of the perks you get do make him stronger and better.
Oh,
outside of the equipment. So in a way, you did level him up throughout. Some of his moves got added to, his defense got added to, his armor. So there was some of that in the game.
But you didn't go around parts of the level looking for stuff because you were hoping to get this new fantastic loot box.
No, but you did have to go around and find ways to get the XP by either getting the Joker teeth or whatever and doing some of the side stuff to get the XP to build them up faster so you could move forward easier. So some of it was there.
Yeah, but I hope you get the point I'm going for is that...
Oh, I do. Again, I'm just saying that it wasn't as cut and dry as you made it out.
And I think I said they over-evaluated the Avengers, thinking that because they had that name behind it, this thing was just going to be a hit regardless. And again, the first telltale sign for me, and then look, I get it. Some people love that game, and to each their own. But when I played as the Hulk, I mean, literally one of the strongest characters in the Marvel franchise. And I couldn't even beat up a little piece of crap with the shield. I was like, yeah, this ain't doing it. Because I remember remember the Hulk on the old Xbox? What was the Hulk Destruction something or another? Right from the get-go, you were the Hulk, and you were smashing stuff, and you were just obliterating stuff.
Hulk,
and this
Ultimate
game, you're
Destruction.
Like, so if the Hulk basically feels like every other character, he's just a big green muscle machine, I'm like, what is the point of this? You know what I mean? I want my superheroes to feel super, and they should feel super out of the gate. But yes, they're going to get stronger as the game goes along if it's done properly. But no, like they were just like, I love the first scene of the Avenger. I love the bridge level, right? And then after that, it went, okay, well, here's our little taste of a great game. And now we're going to turn it into a game as a service because we just want people to play this for the next 5 years. And the only two people in the community, shout out to them, that I constantly heard praising it was Jago Kukin and CyberGunter. Every time I talk to them, I love that game. It's so good. I put so many hours into it. Well, good on you. But apparently it wasn't good enough that it sold like gangbusters. You know, they lost money on it. The game was in the bargain bin after like a month. So that tells you everything you need to know. And that's just my opinion. It's not fact. I'm just saying. Square Enix is guilty of, again, just let your studios make the games they want to make and stop trying to bully your way into coming up with crap just to make a game. So it's the Avengers, like Spider-Man on the PlayStation sells like gangbusters. It doesn't need junk. It doesn't need this stuff to keep you invested. It is what it is. It comes out, it sells 1 billion copies, and it moves on to the next one.
Yeah. There's definitely problems all around with that. Yeah. Outriders, good game, especially when you did the beta. Then when you get it out to everybody else, all the server issues, you can't play with your friends, you get booted out, disconnected in the middle of games, people with their save issues, losing their loot, losing all these different things that they built up through the game, certain stuff like that. Even if the game was fun or good, you're just going to lose people off the bat. Same thing with Avengers. You also got to remember, a lot of times with Avengers, a lot of people said they weren't going to get it, or they were mad because Spider-Man was locked down to just one console. So different choices like that. Like I mentioned as well earlier, you're going to start throwing NFTs into your games and all this other stuff, chasing trends, losing money, just steady losing money on different ideas. It's just, there was a lot of poor decisions that kind of snowballed and into an avalanche of bad news. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's this whole Suicide Squad game. I was just watching a poll recently where people were asked like which character you're gonna play. I think like Captain Boomerang had like next to no votes. It was like, so this is like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna leave it there because I'm gonna go on a weird tangent. But oh my god, like you're gonna have a bad game based on a bad movie. Oh, great.
Hey, the second movie was awesome. I'm sorry, the second movie was the way.
Everybody agrees the second is better. Yeah,
the second one was way better than the first one. But that's
Suicide Squad. The comic book is way better than the movies ever will be.
Yes.
I mean, look at even Harley Quinn in this game. Like, she doesn't even look like the Harley Quinn that was in the Batman Arkham games. She looks totally different now. It's like, I guess, yes, because it's a different studio, but is it supposed to be technically in the same universe, or what's going on here?
I think that's another big failure of recent hero games. A lot of us have especially in modern times, we've gotten used to these continuation stories. The Marvel Cinematic Universe proved that people love continuous stories. People love joint universes.
Yeah.
I think you can relate more. I think that's a big reason why Star Wars succeeds so much, because a lot of it is canon and they tell you what's canon. So a lot of the Star Wars junkies will go out and play it. And and they'll tell you what's not canon, right? It's an offshoot, it's a whatever, right? So I think this whole joint universe piece really helps all media, not just movies, but all media, including video games, right? Like when you played Arkham and then Arkham City, you knew Arkham City was the direct sequel to Arkham Asylum. And I loved it, right? When you played Batman Arkham Knight, it was supposed to be the sequel to Arkham City. And, for better or worse, that game was, I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was pretty awesome. But then you got into like Gotham Knights. And it's not continuing the Arkham series.
Yeah,
it's its own series now, but it half relates to the events of Arkham. So it starts to confuse the audience. So I think Square Enix, their Final Fantasy stuff has always been standalone.
Yeah. Every game is kind of different.
A different thing. Yeah, they use the same summons, the same chocobos, the same, what do you call that money? Gil, but I think they could possibly do better if they started connecting the Final Fantasies or connecting something, one of their franchises, like Tomb Raider, Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider and Shadow of the Tomb Raider were each direct continuations to each other to the Tomb Raider relaunch. That was awesome. I loved playing the next game in the series.
Yeah.
So I really think Square Enix has a lot of. I just continue to believe that they're leaving a lot of money on their IPs.
Indeed. Any which way, like I said, we know the game industry changes, and obviously there's definitely changes to the guard at Square Enix. Hopefully they rebound in a big way, and we'll see what happens in the future. But I think a lot of stuff has come to light through the ABK investigations here, and it should be interesting to see what happens down the road. All right, but in the meantime, let's get over to Scrub Nurse and let's check out what is happening with Game Pass, what's coming, what's going, and everything in between. Obviously, Wo Long is one of the big games that just dropped in there. There's a few stuff leaving, so take it away, Scrub.
All right, let me get in here and share my screen, and then we'll talk about.
Oh, sorry, it's got something here. Share your screen. Where am I at here? Why not?
No, that's me. That's me.
Okay.
All right. There you go.
All right.
Okay. So, of course, we're on what we usually pull up. That'll be GamePassCounter.com up here. So check it out if you want to see what they have. So right now they have 513 unique games on. What's that?
I said, damn, that's a lot of games.
Oh, yeah, 513 right now. So that goes with cloud. That's also PC and then console. What I wanted to put in and show everybody right now what is leaving soon. Dragon Ball Fighters. A lot of people say Fighter Z, whatever you want to call it. That is leaving on February 28th, which we know is past. All of these things we have missed. I'm sorry I wasn't here last week to talk about it. But then F1 2020 is leaving on March 15th. So that is coming up. I just wanted to pop that out there just in case anybody didn't know. But there are also F1 games that are in Game Pass that are later than 2020. So it might not hurt your feelings as much. But like you said, Wo Long Fallen Dynasty just came out. I definitely say if you want to try it out, please do. I think it is a fun game. You might actually enjoy it. So try something out. That's what it's for. Try something that you might never want to play or never thought about playing. It's there for you. You already have the subscription. Go ahead and try it out. If you hadn't heard the news, of course, Atomic Heart just came out a couple of weeks ago. That's another game. Try it out. People have been loving this game. It is a very good game to me. I've been enjoying it. it's a little different with the story and having the Russian background and doing all your different ads and stuff, give you that BioShock feel. So I think that is another one that's worth jumping on, especially since it's a different genre. Everybody said, "Oh, it's the shooter box." Hey, it has different mechanics in there, RPG, trees, and all those different things in it. So check it out. Um, One of the things that are coming out on March 28th that I want to really highlight and talk about is MLB The Show right here. That is coming out March 28th. Especially, this is something that, of course, Xbox has not had a baseball game for a while. We used to have 2K forever and a day, and then once that was gone, we went years without a big AAA baseball game. Yes, we had other games, but the big AAA baseball game with all the players, the likenesses, and all that different stuff. So The Show was the only way to get it. You had to go to PlayStation, which is not a problem. If you're able to get multiple consoles and be able to play whatever you want, do it. But for the folks who couldn't get that game. Now that the fact that MLB Show is cross-platform, multi-plat, this is the best time to jump on a baseball game. And especially now, I just want to highlight on this year with MLB The Show, you're going to have the Negro Leagues intertwined into that. I know we just had Black History Month. A lot of people, especially with history not being told and passed down as much, might not exactly know what the Negro Leagues were. So back then in baseball, you had MLB, but it was all white. So you had so many baseball players who were good enough to play in the national leagues, the big leagues, as you would say it, but they had to ride buses, ride cars, and then travel throughout the whole country playing baseball in whatever field they could, with not the money, not the hype, not the visibility, not the press, but they were just as good. And a lot of the players you would see, this person finally made it to the big leagues and they're playing, but a lot of those Negro League players, they might have been coming to the MLB on their last couple of years of greatness in their prime, and they were still dominating. So just imagine how good they were when they were in their prime and coming up through baseball. So I like that the fact that MLB is going to tag that into this year. You might find some players, you might get some background story that you never knew about. So you can check out some of the trailers. It's on YouTube, different things of that nature, if you want to get more info on what they're going to show into the game. And also, if you just have enough time, you can check just the history of the Negro Leagues. It is very important that you know about it. A lot of people say that Babe Ruth is the greatest home run hitter in his numbers, but you have a Josh Gibson that was recorded and he hit so many home runs, they don't have the exact number because they didn't keep stats as well. And he never got a chance to make it to the big leagues. And he was pretty much regarded as one of the greatest hitters in baseball. So if you have a chance, just check it out. I think it'll be great. It's going to be fun. I'm excited for it. So I'll definitely be able to play it. And even if not, like I said, we hadn't had baseball. It'd be a shame. We have it in Game Pass and then nobody touches it. They might not bring games that we want to play to us if we don't play.
This is the third time they brought it. Hopefully they fixed the server issues we've had previously, because some of us have wanted to play. We just couldn't get the servers to work right, or the leagues to work correctly.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. So I'm definitely excited for it. Every year I've been excited for it. So let's see when it goes. But also, since it's getting close to the end of time, I know we're going to start getting to our outros. I'm going to go ahead and do mine. I want to thank everybody for coming out, all the people in the chat. I mean, like I said, I'm glad to have Boom here with us. We had a great talk. The engagement was awesome. I would love to see everybody be here next week and let's keep this game going. Please hit the like button, share out if you want to. Like New said earlier, if there's something you want to see, something that you love, something that you don't like, and we might work on it, please let us know. Hit us up in the DMs or put it down here in the chat. We're doing this for fun, something that we love to do. We have a great time with it, and we just want to keep this thing going. So you can find me on Twitter at ScrubNurse3. On there, you'll also have my other stuff, my Twitch, Scrub_Nurse. You can find me and play with me on Xbox. Hit me up, friends, at Scrub Space Nurse. So that's about all I have to do. About to get ready at work, and
I always love when he says Scrub Space Nurse. I always picture him in a full space suit.
You gotta have it, especially when I play Activision, because Activision account, when you play Call of Duty and all this stuff, you have to have the exact thing. Is it Scrub_Nurse? It's Scrub at there. So I always say it to make it easier for everybody. But yeah,
I know it's just the way it sounds. So it sounds like Space Nurse, you know.
Yes, I'm a Space Nurse. That's right.
That's his new name, Space Nurse.
That's Space Nurse. Yeah. Y'all have a good.
Good to have you back, Scrub. Thanks for being here, brother.
Always.
Great show today.
All right.
Y'all have a good one. You can't check him out here. You can check him out on Gaming Beyond the Box. And don't forget, like I said, he's a great guy to play some Call of Duty with. Hit him up.
Yeah, I forgot to say Gaming Beyond the Box. I'm glad you brought that up, because sometimes I forget because I'm in my hurry up mode. But yeah, you can catch us on Sunday evenings. Gaming Beyond the Box. Dreadpool is in the chat. Love that. So you can check us out on the evening times. It's 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central on Sunday. So it's going to be a good one. We always have a great time. So appreciate you guys.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, brother.
All righty.
Just before we get ready to close,
actually, I have a quick thing. Let me do my quick thing, because this doesn't come up very often. This Wednesday is the Microsoft Ability Summit about accessibility, not just in gaming, but in Microsoft in general. Nice. If you're interested, you can go digitally. The link is now in the chat. You can check it out. A lot of people, names you recognize in Microsoft, will have little keynotes and little sessions. So if you want to hang out with us on Wednesday, go ahead and join. Sign up and jump on in. I'll be there. So will a lot of other people, So
there you go. Check it out. The link is up on the screen right now. You can copy and paste that, and feel free to check it out. And as well, if you are a podcast host or a part of a podcast and would ever like to have Cerebral Paul on as a guest to talk about issues around accessibility in the gaming industry, he's a great guy to talk to about it. He's an ambassador. And like I said, you get a little bit of insight and perspective into how he sees things, and certainly games differently, as we often see gaming differently with Cerebral Paul. I got to give a big shout out, obviously, first of all, to all of our loyal supporters and followers, the guys who have been out here for a long time. Tellus, Ray, Dreadpool, Doggy Dog, You're Wicked Hot, Casket Repair, Tellus, Ray. The list goes on. You guys are amazing. Crispy Rambo. But also today I would say today I've seen the most new people in this chat I've seen since we probably started this show. And there's a lot of new people here now. Maybe some of my other panel members recognize the names, because I know for a while Axel was a gracious host of the show and took it over while I took a little bit of a hiatus. But like, we got guys like Sonic Ring X here right now. We got Karede Ogunaremi. I'm not sure if I pronounced it right. I do apologize if I didn't, but thank you, Karede. I'm also seeing Chio Walker here as well. We got the Game Complainers. That sounds like a great podcast name, because that's pretty much a lot of podcasts these days. I know I'm one of those guys included. I complain a lot. Jeremy Brown is in the house. We got Ollie's Cola. What's going on? And so many more. Nix is in the building. Our good friend of the show, Invader Gaming, is in the house. What's going on, Invader? Good to see you here. Don't forget to check out Invader's show on Sunday nights, TXR. You can check it out on his channel. and there's many more. Like I said, our buddy Dredd, Jesse Darby, Spider-Man 356. The list goes on. Splendiferous, General Spartan, Royal Boyle's in the house this morning. We had Xbox International Podcast, aka Mr. Crazy Louie. And the list goes on. Guys, you're just amazing. You really, really are. Thank you so much for everything. Please hit the like, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends about this little show. Again, Mr. Boomstick said it perfectly before he exited. This podcast is not based around hating platforms and stuff. Yes, I mean, I certainly lead the charge in my fair amount of complaining on certain things or my ideals, and because I'm an old fogey that change does not come easily for me. But for the most part, we like to highlight positivity in the community, especially stuff happening with Xbox. If anybody's watched this show over the course of the 84 episodes, you will know that we don't sit here and clickbait. We don't sit here and just the whole show is just about hating Sony, and we literally talk about games and Xbox related stuff. We talk about the good and the bad, but we try to highlight mostly the good because it doesn't get enough love. It's easy to sort of double down on the hate and try to go for the clicks and stuff like that. But people will know that we keep it honest and real here. And we got some great features like, again, accessibility issues. Axel sometimes will talk about cloud-based stuff and services. CoolcatTerri each and every week has her indie spotlight. She's been consistent with that, and so on and so forth. So we hope that you are enjoying the show. If it's your first time ever being here, we greatly appreciate it. We do this for the love of it. We're not getting paid to do it. I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and get ready for this show. So that tells you that if I wouldn't get up at 6 o'clock if I didn't love doing this and hanging out with these fantastic panel members. Great show. Shout out to Eternal Shaddai. He was one of our panel members who is no longer with us. It doesn't mean he passed away. He just cannot do the show anymore. He's still alive and well. He may return in the future. We never know. I saw Ice Queen Gaming in the house earlier. Shout out to Ice Queen. We got Delusional Grandeur. How's it going? Good to see you here. We got RWK88 or Rock88. Good to see you here. I think this is the first time joining us on this podcast. So thank you so much. Like I said, it's great to see the love and support. I don't know if that means a lot of you came over from Boomstick's channel because he's doing quite well for himself. And again, we thank Boom for being here. So anyway, I'm kind of rambling on, guys. We're going to let everybody get out of here. I think we've pretty much said everything we need to say for today. We're glad to have Axel and Scrub back with us as well. Axel, hope that you're starting to feel better. Man, I can't believe what happened to you right on the end of your vacation. What a way to come home, eh? Like end up in the hospital. Brutal.
Yeah.
Better on the end of the vacation than the beginning. So there you go.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
That's one way. He's like, yeah, I need another vacation. So you're off work for a little bit then, Axel, or?
Yeah, I was supposed to return to work this last week, but I've been working from home all week long. When I'm not loopy, and I will be missing half this week as well. All doctor's orders. So yeah,
there you go. Well, get better, my friend. And it's one thing I could say about this panel in particular, and not every other podcast is like it, but anybody who knows, I know earlier had Brando Calrissian in the chat, and he can tell you that this is a panel that not only plays games, but will play games with the community. I'm not shy. If you ever want to play a game with somebody like myself or Paul or Axel or Terry or anybody, Terry might be the harder one because she's very selective about her games. But in general, like I play games with everybody. I totally welcome it. I absolutely love seeing messages on my timeline where people come on my Xbox and say, if you want to play a game. And it's always funny because when I say yes, I'm happy to play games. And then I get people that go, wow, you actually play games? Like they somehow think that I'm like I won't play games with people. Like, no, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to play games, and I love playing games with new people. So me and Brando have been playing Gears 5. We might go back to playing that tonight. So if you guys want to play some games with us, feel free, hit us up. Follow us on Xbox. I'm even on the PlayStation. I'll play games over there too. But anyway, we're going to get to the outros. I just wanted to say that we do hang out with the community. A lot of times we do community game nights. We're going to have a couple coming up here very, very soon. I'm going to try to organize one here right away. As a matter of fact, we're trying to organize one in the next couple of weeks for a massive Call of Duty Warzone, a private match. And the key for this is we're going to need like 40 people to pull this off. That's going to be quite the feat, but we're going to advertise it in advance and see if we can pull together enough people from the community to do massive Warzone, which would be awesome. Titan Drago and I are going to try to coordinate that, and we'll send the details here very soon. Dark Praxis is in the building. What's going on, my brother? Good to see you here. There's a talented individual. We gotta love him, Dark Praxis. But let's let everybody get out here. Let's do the outros, and we will start in the order that they appear on the screen. And we're going to start with Mr. Cerebral Paul. Where can we find you next, my friend?
You can find me on Twitter at CerebralPaul1, Twitch at Cerebral Paul. Tomorrow, you can find me on Xbox Ambassador channel, Gaming Differently with Cerebral Paul. I will be playing Destiny 2 Lightfall. I will also be giving away a code for the DLC. So if you still want that DLC for Lightfall, check the show out tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. in the UK. And then tomorrow night, Tuesday night, you can find me on the Retro Renegades. Wednesday, you can find me on the Backdoor Bastards. Thursday, you can find me on 4GQ TV. And later today, you can find me on the Flamish Experience. And somewhere in there, I'm going to sleep. I don't know when, but I will at some point. So then...
So pretty much what he's saying, if there's a podcast out there, there's a good chance that Paul is on it.
Yeah, not as bad. Oh, wait. Oh, that's right. And one that I can't remember, but I do have a show on Friday as well. But I'll be posting that on my Twitter.
Okay.
So,
all right, Paul. All right. And guys, don't forget, he posted a link earlier. If you can make a donation, small or large, greatly appreciated, as Paul looks to have to move into new accommodations in the next few months. And under his circumstances, what might be hard enough for us, it's even doubly hard for him. So just keep that in mind. If you can spare a little bit, by all means, make sure that you click on his link or go follow him on Twitter, and you can donate over there to his fund. So, all right.
Did I say Backdoor Bastard? That's what I call him in chat. Yeah, Backlog Bastards. Yeah.
All right.
I've also called them broke back bastards and all kinds of other things, but you know.
Okay. And yes, Terry, we're all good when you're doing your outro. All right, so we're gonna start booting people from the screen, but stay around in the back channel before we go. What's going on here? Wrong thing here. We're gonna get to Terry here in just a second. We will start with Mr. Axel. Axel,
yeah. Hey, everybody. Don't know if you can see me back. There I am. Hey. Yeah. There we go. Hey, everybody. I'm Axel1324. You can find me under Axel1324 on Xbox and on Twitter. I do have a YouTube channel called Axel1324 Gaming, where I host the iconic video games podcast every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we just talk about the games we're playing and the games we look forward to playing, or the games we have played. It's just a gaming talk. We are a console agnostic podcast, so come on over and talk to us about some of the games you'd like to play.
And I can second that. I just wanted to say that is one of the most fun podcasts out there. I totally love it. I love what they're doing between him and Doggy Dog. Great chemistry, good people, a lot of fun. And they keep it very interactive too, which is one of the very few shows out there that really engages their audience and gets you thinking. It's really good. And a little bit of a trip down memory lane too, hence the iconic part, which is it's always good. It's surprising how much you kind of forget about until you guys start bringing this stuff up on the show and you're like, holy shit, like this is cool. So go check that out, guys. Awesome stuff. Thanks again, Axel. I hope you're feeling better, my friend. Take care, and we'll let you get out of here.
Thank you.
All righty. And now as we get to CoolcatTerri, last but definitely not least, go ahead, Terry. You wanted me to share something on the screen?
Yes, I want to go over my stuff, but real quick, I wanted to jump to Noof's channel. I've had a couple people reach out to me. They were confused as to how to find past episodes of Good Morning Xbox. So I just want to show you. If you go to Noof's channel and you subscribe, you'll notice that they don't show up on the home screen because they're live videos. You actually need to click on the live little tab right there if you're on PC, and then you'll be able to find the past episodes as well as his other podcasts that he had, Gaming After Dark. All those episodes are under the live tab. So that's where you actually have to go for those of you who are confused as to where to find those. So go ahead and check out some of the past episodes. There's some great stuff there.
Thank you, Terry. You're promoting my channel better than I promoted it.
And then if you want to check out my stuff, I'm over on Twitter, CoolcatTerri. I'll have plenty of stuff on there for indie games. I have my own YouTube channel. you can click on my name in the chat, just like you see here, CoolcatTerri, for my gaming stuff. Otherwise, I also have another channel, Coolcat's Alley, which is my automotive media channel. I'm getting really close to hitting a milestone right now, so I would love the support. If you like car stuff, go check that out. And then I have my Twitch channel, which I haven't done in a little while because I've been waiting for some content from Ubisoft. I am an official Ubisoft content creator. They finally gave me the promotion, but I haven't had any content to show. The only thing they've been kind of being like, well, you can play Uno. I'm like, well, I don't want to play Uno. So I haven't been streaming. So hopefully I can get back to that soon once they get some more game stuff out. But otherwise, Instagram.
Cat's being absolutely adorable in the background there.
I know. So earlier in the show, my cat Biscuit was over here, and he's super like high active. He can't sit still. He's all over the place. Kind of has like cat ADHD, I think. This is his brother Cheddar. He's the one that's chill. He just lays here, and he's kind of like my buddy. But so like he's super chill. His brother was all over the place. but yeah, so we got Cheddar just chilling, and then yeah, we got Cheddar and Biscuit. You know, but all right, but yeah, and then the Instagram.
See, me and Terry have that in common. We both love cats, and we both have our cats named after food. That's all weird.
Yeah, you know. So it's like, come on. I mean, the coloring matches, and you're not going to find a person who doesn't like cheddar biscuits. Okay, so come
on.
But yeah. So and then check out my Instagram as well, CoolcatTerri, like ATM.
Yeah, and all the links are should be in the description on the videos as well, like I said. And if you're looking for past videos, go over to the live tab on my site. Last week was a great show. For those of you who didn't know or missed it, we had Mag, the middle-aged game guy, and Titan Drago here. So it's a bit of a Gaming After Dark throwback, which was awesome last week. That was a good show. So if you missed it, go back and check it out. Tony Baloney actually makes an appearance toward the end, which was always iconic. And we had a good time. So go check that out as well. All right. Thanks again, Terry. All right. And you guys know where to find me, pretty much always in the gutter when I'm not hosting this fantastic group of misfits. You can find me sometimes on Tuesday nights in my old Gaming After Dark game time slot, streaming some games. Hope to get back to a few more titles, including The Last of Us, streaming Ratchet and Clank, and hope to get back on some more Xbox stuff too. But the problem I find, like, I do a lot of PlayStation streams because it's directly linked to YouTube, and I wish it was a feature that Xbox had where you could just hit one button, go live to YouTube like you used to do with Mixer, but they took that away from me because I was actually growing quite an audience on Mixer, and then that got kiboshed. So there we go. And I'm really not a big fan of Twitch that much, so that's part of the reason. But anyway, I do digress. You can find us here again next Sunday. We'll be back with episode 85. Look forward to having some fantastic guests with us as well. But until then, like I said, we'll keep you posted and up to date. Go follow, subscribe. Ray McDougall, what's going on? Good morning. And thanks for checking out the show. Like I said, go check out the past episodes if you like. And feel free to leave some comments if you feel like you'd ever like to be a guest on the show as well. Send me a DM and we'll see what we can line up. We've had lots of new people on here. A lot of people that have ever come on my shows often end up becoming panel members or go on to do their own podcasts. It's really, really cool stuff. Pixel Slapper, thanks for being here, man. Again, let's get out of here and have a great morning, and we'll see you again next week. So thanks so much, everybody, and have a great Sunday.